A simple look at the box score would show that the Raptors got blown out by the Golden State Warriors, and the team that started 6-3 is now 8-10. So in today's video, we want to break down what the future of the Toronto Raptors holds for the rest of the season. What can we expect from this team? Let's get into it. Welcome NBA and Raptors fans. This is Amateur Hour Sports, your source for everything Raptors related. Raptors news coverage, mock trades, game recaps, and so much more. So if you like the Toronto Raptors and you enjoyed content in this video style, well then you are going to love Amateur Hour Sports. So make sure you subscribe to the channel. We're on a road to 8,000 subscribers and you get 4+ videos a week, all concerning the Toronto Raptors in return. But let's get down to business for today's video. Kind of talking about the Golden State Warriors game we saw yesterday as the Raptors fell in, quite a bit of a difference of score, but we also want to discuss what kind of the near future of this Raptors team holds, because there was a lot of question marks regarding Pascal Siakam's fit with this team. How does Siakam gel with somebody like Scottie Barnes, two of these forwards who need a lot of the ball and need a lot of the ball to get their own on the inside? And so far, since Pascal Siakam has returned, the fit just hasn't quite been there for both of those players, but more on that as we get through. So yesterday, how the game went down, I said one of the keys to the game is going to be to limit Steph Curry and force other players on the team to beat you. Well, we limited Steph Curry. This is the second game in a row at the Chase Center where Steph Curry has not looked good at all against the Toronto Raptors. But in this game, well, other guys beat us. Jordan Poole went absolutely off, and Andrew Wiggins as well. Both of them had at least 30 points in this game. Jordan Poole shot 8 for 11 from 3. I mean, I get some of the defense wasn't great, but the way he was shooting, I just don't think there was any way the Raptors were going to win this game based on how good everybody was. I mean, Otto Porter Jr. was 5 for 9 from 3 off the bench, for Christ's sakes. I mean, we went down 27-9 early. It kind of looked like we were going to get back into it, and then the Warriors took over that 20-point lead again and again. It was 9 points, then back to 20, then 9 points, and so on and so forth. But the Raptors, they end up losing this one. I think there's a lot of positives to take away from this game. From a defensive standpoint, I know we gave up a lot of points. I know we kind of got blown out, but I thought for the most part, the defense was pretty good. The on-ball defense was much better, especially from Pascal Siakam for a second straight game. And the rotations were pretty good. I think that Scottie Barnes got lost a little bit. Again, he's not really looking like the same energetic and that intangible driven self that we saw earlier in the season. And that kind of transitioned to the offense as well. But defensively, I thought it was good for the most part. The Warriors were just hitting some ridiculous shots. In some situations, the defense did break down, but I didn't think it was that bad. Offensively, I mean, Siakam, you guys wanted Siakam to do it against a good team. You all said after my last video, I was preaching about how good Pascal Siakam is. Like, oh, it's the Kings. He's never going to do it against an actual good defense. Well, how about the best defense in the NBA? Siakam had 21 points on 50% shooting from the field, 50% shooting from 3. What else do you want from him? He had a great game on defense and on offense. He wasn't given quite enough help. Gary Trent was awful. Fred VanVleet was pretty bad for the most part of the game. Scottie Barnes didn't really have a ton of contributions in this game either. So the question is kind of shifting towards, how does Pascal Siakam fit with Scottie Barnes? And most of you are quick to say, I won't say most of you, I don't like kind of classifying all Raptors fans, but a lot of Raptors fans are saying Scottie Barnes and Pascal Siakam, they're both similar. They cannot be good on the same team. I don't really understand the notion. I don't really understand that. Two players who are both really good, why can't they both be good at the same time? Pascal Siakam, he's not like a ball hog. It's not like he's taking too much ball. Pascal Siakam shot efficiently and had 21 points. That is exactly what you want on your team from any player in the NBA. You would want any player in the league to shoot 50% from the field and have over 20 points. Since Pascal Siakam's minute restriction was lifted, he has 20 points in 4 of the 5 games. And just a little peek at the box score would show that Scottie Barnes didn't have one of his better games in this one. And he didn't. Scottie Barnes wasn't shooting well from the field. But if you actually sit and watch the Toronto Raptors game, you would see Scottie Barnes gets a lot of good opportunities. But recently, his aggressiveness towards the rim just hasn't quite been there. And it has nothing to do with the fact that Pascal Siakam is on the court at the same time. Scottie Barnes is fully within his right to go to the rim. Scottie Barnes is fully within his right to take on shooting opportunities. And he took them. I mean, he was hitting threes yesterday. That is something that we don't usually see from Scottie Barnes, but he had the aggression and he wanted to take on those shooting opportunities, which is great, but it's also contrary to what we saw earlier in the season, where maybe he didn't take those shots, but he found himself a lot more aggressive at getting towards the rim. And even Nick Nurse commented on this after the game where, he kind of stayed in the game. In the third quarter, he started coming alive a little bit, but it wasn't quite for the entire game that we wanted to see for Scottie Barnes. So if Scottie Barnes isn't playing well, it doesn't just mean that it's because Siakam is on the court. Scottie Barnes is a rookie. He's in a little bit of a slump like many rookies are. He is still the best rookie currently in the NBA. Does that also come with Evan Mobley's injury? Maybe a little bit. But right now, if you gave out the Rookie of the Year award, it would go to Scottie Barnes. He's in a little bit of a slump. That is absolutely going to happen to a rookie. I just want to see the intangibles come back a little bit, and I want to see him go to the rim a little bit more often like he was earlier in the season. Because earlier in the season, Siakam wasn't there, but OG Anunoby was there, taking like just as many touches as Pascal Siakam. And in those games, Scottie Barnes was fine, but nobody talked about OG Anunoby taking too much of the ball. Well, Siakam is the same thing. Does Siakam need the ball a little bit more on the inside? Sure, but Siakam can still play on the outside. In the past 2 games, he has shot very well from three-point land. Therefore, he can stay on the outside and players are forced to defend him, leaving lots of space on the inside for Scottie Barnes as well to attack the rim. So the notion that they don't fit together is closed-minded, and it's just people who try to extend the length to the goalpost for Pascal Siakam. They just want to find a reason to complain about it. So if they can't complain about Siakam being bad, it has to be Siakam's fault that somebody else isn't playing well, which, again, just doesn't make a lot of sense. But where do we go from here? What is the future of this team? The Raptors, 8-10. They were 6-3 and an ugly loss to the Golden State Warriors. Well, the Golden State Warriors are now 15-2. They're the best team in the NBA, and they showed why they're the best team in the NBA. Raptors are going to hover around 500 for the entire season. That's the reality of this team. So we're not expected to go and beat the Warriors. I don't know why so many people are that upset that we lost to the Golden State Warriors. It kind of is what it is here. We played against a really good team. They showed why they're a really good team. We showed why we're just not quite up to that level of the top teams, the upper echelons of the NBA quite yet. The future of this team looks good, though. This was one of those games where, even though we lost, there were lots of good things to comment on. Sure, as it comes to Scottie Barnes, the development wasn't quite there, but some signs are there. The jump shot was falling, and there's still some things that need to be tinkered for his defensive game. We're now starting to get some questions regarding how this team is all going to fit and how this team is going to perform as we progress through the rest of the season. When OG Anunoby returns, what does a starting lineup look like? I just don't think right now there's a starting lineup that can't include Khem Birch. We've seen what happens when Siakam is to play as a center. He just isn't in his element there. He just doesn't play as well in the center position as he does in the power forward position. You can't play him in the center position. That's just the way it is. OG Anunoby, the same thing. You limit him when you play him in the center position. So I think that part of this future, I really like the blend of Van Vliet and Gary Trent at the guards. I really like Siakam and OG Anunoby, of course. I love Scottie Barnes. But is there a future where Scottie Barnes can be playing as a sixth man for this team? He won Sixth Man of the Year in his college days with Florida State in his only year in college. So why can't he translate that into the NBA as well? Nick Nurse is starting to understand the bench doesn't really have what they need to be successful right now. In the last couple of games, they've been much better. And I think part of that is because they're kind of shifting the rotation a little bit, especially in the Kings game. I found that Gary Trent was used a lot with the bench unit because there isn't really a lot of natural scorers on the bench. So why not just put in the starter, who is a natural scorer like Gary Trent, into the bench unit? That's kind of what Nick Nurse is doing, but I think that Gary Trent, the dynamic that he has in the starting lineup, he does need to be there. Scottie Barnes, I think, would be a good player to bring off of the bench. Just because you're coming off the bench doesn't mean you're not good. I mean, look at the Utah Jazz. They have Jordan Clarkson, one of their best scorers, coming off of the bench, and he's fine in that role. Just because he's coming off the bench doesn't mean he won't get as many minutes as some of the starters, but the way the rotation is balanced, Scottie Barnes can come off the bench and be one of the main ball handlers in that second unit along with Delano Banton. Also, with Delano Banton taking a lot of that playmaking role, Scottie Barnes has full license to slash the rim because there is some floor spacing on the bench. Simi Hajek is a good three-point shooter. When Yuta Watanabe returns, he is a good three-point shooter as well. Chris Boucher may be starting to find a little bit of that three-point game as well, but nonetheless, Scottie Barnes has space on the inside with that lineup. He still has space on the inside with the starting lineup, but you can't start everybody. You can only start 5 players, and you need to kind of keep an eye on the way they work together, the way they blend together. And Khem Birch provides a lot of stability to that starting lineup that I think we do need to continue to utilize for the near future. Right now, I don't think there's any need to panic with the way the roster is formed. Other than we need a backup center. We absolutely need a backup center. Other than that, I don't think there's any need to truly panic about things. Yes, we could use a center. Yes, we could use some help on the bench. But as far as like the key ingredients of this team, Maybe long-term, there's a discussion about whether OG, Pascal, and Scottie all fit together on the same team. But further than here and the now, Scottie Barnes is going to continue to develop. Pascal Siakam is in some great form of basketball right now. 4 20-point game pluses in his last 5 games. And when OG Anunoby returns, he's averaging 20 points per game this season as well. So there's no need to freak out. It's a loss to the best team in the league, the 15-2 Golden State Warriors. There's no need to panic. We got 2 nights off, rest up. We got a game against the Memphis Grizzlies. That's going to be a good measuring stick for this team. Because obviously we beat the Kings. You know, the Kings aren't great. They just fired their coach. The Warriors, well, they're far too good for us. Memphis, that's in and around where we expect to be right now. Kind of challenging for lower playoff seeds with the opportunity to sneak in a little bit higher. That's going to be a good base to kind of see where this team is at, where we need to go, and what we can do to tinker things to make ourselves even better and get the most out of this season. But as far as this one game goes, don't panic too much about the Warriors. Siakam is fine. Scottie Barnes is going to be fine. They are both going to be able to succeed together on the same team. Appreciate the team we have. Enjoy the vibes. Let's see what happens on Wednesday against the Memphis Grizzlies. So the Raptors lose by basically 20 points against the Golden State Warriors. Are you panicking? Are you not panicking? What do you think about the things I said in this video? Let me hear all of your thoughts and opinions in the comments down below, because that is it for me for today. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Please, if you did enjoy, leave a like on the video. If you're still here watching at the end, you clearly did enjoy the video. It's in a bit of a rough stretch for Raptors content creators on YouTube, so make sure you're supporting the creators like myself and many other Raptors content creators on this platform by liking, and also you can subscribe for 4+ videos a week, all concerning your favorite NBA team. Help me on our road to 8,000 subscribers. Right now, you can watch some vlogs on my second channel up here. I did a Raptors 905 vlog a couple of weeks ago, and I'm going to be going to some more in the future. I got Raptors tickets for November 30th, vlogging that one as well. And in the bottom corner here, a post-game show for every single Raptors game, like the one we saw yesterday. I'll see you again next time for another video.